Good morning and welcome from Ireland. I am here in Galway Cathedral, outside the beautiful Galway Cathedral in 1965, Renaissance cathedral built for the people of the West. We're here on pilgrimage in 2025 and I want to bring you this homily for the 25th Sunday of Ordinary Time, Cycle C. Today's Gospel, we hear of the steward that is asked to give a full account of his stewardship. It reminds me of, I've been so inspired when I got to Ireland this time around, see how many people are committed to taking care of the environment. They're so ecologically conscious. They reduce, they recycle, and they reuse. It's spectacular to see the collective effort. And I saw the source of this is in 1921, the government signed into legislation, into law, that by 2050, that they will be completely carbon neutral as a nation. Wow, it was so inspirational, but even more inspirational to find out that they now are already at over 50% renewable energies, of which 37% is coming from the wind farms. This concerted effort is definitely good stewardship. There's no question that they will make their goal in 2050. In fact, they might make even 2035 or even 2030 at this rate, because we're only in 2025 and they're already 50% the way there. It's inspirational for me, and it is for us, all of us as pilgrims, to recognize how this understanding of being good stewards of God's creation is part of the call of discipleship. They may have lost coming to church, but they are faith-filled people. They love this church and they love God. And they love their planet, their earth, their little place here called Ireland. You know, the Irish people have been persecuted for hundreds of years, and the religion was made illegal. For hundreds of years, they could not celebrate Mass publicly. It was illegal to own any property if you were Catholics, but they persevered. And what's inspirational about this new level of sort of re-energy is it's energizing the local people at the lowest level. It's really inspirational for us. But what does it mean for us as Americans living in such a wealthy society as in Silicon Valley? We are called to have that mindset. I know California has equally as audacious goals for carbon neutrality as well. Not anywhere near as this, but we can do our part. So we should, because it is our common home, this earth. That's what I'm so inspired by what Pope Francis given his famous document called Laudate Si, a call to care for creation. He inspired all of us to take seriously that this is one common home for all of us, and that we all need to do our part to reduce what we use, to recycle what we have, and to do everything to reduce, recycle, and reuse. In our own lives, that applies also to our stewardship. The stewardship of our time, our talent, and yes, our treasures. I find that a deep challenge for us, that this steward today in the Gospel, it was interesting, one great reading of this Gospel is that when the steward was asked to give a full account of his stewardship, he immediately kind of used his only weapon against his boss, which was, it was illegal to lend money. But what they did was they lend oil, they lend grain, and then they charge exorbitant fees or interest. And so when this guy turns around and says, how much you owe? 50, give me 50%. He's asking for the original dollar amount, or the original amount that was loaned, or 80%, the original amount. Well, he couldn't be reported. Why? Because then the owner would be known as a scoundrel for having overcharged. So there's wisdom in this steward, and the Lord is pointing out that wisdom, and that's secular wisdom, and that we need to apply that to our spiritual lives. And so that is what you and I need to do. We have to be wise about what are the gifts that we have. And it's not just about how much money we have, although that is a gift. But if we can realize that our time is our gift, that we all have only so much time, that we are stewards of our 80 plus, maybe 85 years that we might get, maybe if we're lucky 90. But for a lot of us, don't even get that 85. For me, like I'm 60, that means that I'm going to have 25 more years left. How am I thinking about how do I use that time well? How do I give myself away, not expecting anything in return? No interest. I no interest be paid, that I am paying it forward. And for what purpose? For the common good, so that others can have what I have. I feel incredibly blessed, and I think, and I hope you do, by God's blessings on me. I don't think I've done anything to merit those blessings, but I feel then compelled to use those gifts for the sake of others, to make others people's lives richer in time, talent, and treasure. So what am I asking of you? I'm asking of you to think about your own stewardship. Yes, to double click or double down on the how we use our planet and our resources, to reduce what we use if we can, to reuse what we can, and then recycle what we cannot, and to commit to our care for our creation, but also care for a creation of one another, that we care for those who are most in need, those who are broken by circumstances that are often beyond their own control. They are wounded, sick, or homeless. And sometimes, yes, it is by bad choices that they have made. But often those bad choices are a result of wounds that they have. So can we be compassionate and reach out to these groups, whether they're homeless or broken, ill, or whether they're immigrants or illegal immigrants, or whether they're family members who are not fully integrated into our family anymore. Or maybe they're in our greater community, the LGBTQ community, or maybe it's the married and divorced. There is so many people we can help. Let us not languish and take for granted all the years that we have and all the gifts that we're being given. But let us take seriously today, here, right now, how am I going to hold myself accountable to the Lord's challenge of holding a full stewardship, a full account of my stewardship? Let's examine how we use our time, talent, and treasure for the greater glory of God.